My name is Felicity Short from FSAA News, and I will be your host today. Our topic is it too late for a two-state solution to take hold and actually work in the Palestine-Israeli disputed territory issue? We will be discussing three main topics, including demographics, the present one-state solution, and the international stanza on the two-state solution through the course of 2 interviews. And now, for a special paraphrase written so as to give you listeners a better idea of how the need and the idea for a two-state solution came to be. The background. The Peel Commission of 1937 was a British Royal Commission of Inquiry set out to propose changes to the British Mandate of Palestine following the outbreak of the 1939 Arab Revolt in Palestine. The Mufti of Jerusalem demanded the termination of Jewish immigration. Although the Arabs continued to boycott the commission officially, there was a sense of urgency to respond to Weizmann's appeal to restore calm. Another historical moment affecting the two-state solution consensus was the partition of 1947, which was proposed by the UN for the division of Palestine. The partition proposed a three-way division under international control, which was again rejected by the leadership of the Arab and Palestinian nations alike. A two-state solution was then proposed in 1967, and 72% of both the Palestinians and the Israelis supported these new border plans, so long as each group could be reassured that the other side would be cooperative in making the necessary concessions for such a settlement. But then the UN decided to split the proposed territory vertically, which was unacceptable to both sides. Since then, a new two-state solution has not been created, and time is running out. To explain the issue of why a two-state solution might not work, we have interviewed Ryan Aslan, who is the author of Beyond Fundamentalism, Confronting Religious Extremism in the Age of Globalization. Unfortunately, he was not able to be here today, so we have asked him questions and I will read his responses. First, we asked him, can you tell us what you believe is the prospect of a two-state solution and why? His answer, I can say with confidence the prospect of a two-state solution is dead and buried. There's plenty of blame to go around for its demise. You can blame the generic Palestinian leadership whose corruption and ineptitude have forfeited the confidence of the Palestinian people. You can blame Hamas and its fellow militants whose terrorist activities and hostile takeover of Gaza have made the notion of a unified Palestinian state difficult to imagine. You can blame the growing number of Jewish ideological settler groups whose thirst for more land has made it next to impossible for Israel to dismantle the settlements and return to the 1967 borders. You can blame each successive Israeli government that has pandered to such groups, and the current Likud government whose party platform quote-unquote, flatly rejects the establishment of a Palestinian Arab state west of the Jordan River. And certainly you can blame the United States, whose erratic and often imbalanced handling of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has earned it the suspicion of both sides. But whichever you choose to blame, this one fact is becoming increasingly obvious and undeniable. The two-state solution is becoming a fast and fading dream. The second question that we asked him was, as many people know, demographics play a large role in the controversy. What do you think about this? His answer, the problem is that neither time nor the demographics of the region are on the side of the Israelis. Today, the number of Israeli Jews and Palestinian Arabs living between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea is roughly equal, about 5 million inhabitants each, but most demographers agree that in less than a decade, Palestinians will greatly outnumber Israelis. That means that barring some demographic miracle, Israel will no longer be a Jewish majority state. At that point, it will have two options. It can either become an apartheid state, in which Jewish minority rules over a disenfranchised Arab majority, or it can become a single, unified, binational state in which Israelis and Palestinians live side by side within a single border. Given the decades of violence and mistrust between the two sides, the notion of a one-solution state may sound absurd, but it is not as crazy it seems. The next question we asked him was, why do you believe that a one-state solution may be the only option left? And again, his answer was, Israel and Palestine already live in a single territory, have a single currency, a single market, and a single political and economic ecosystem. True, right now Israel calls all the shots, but a Palestinian-Israeli confederation wherein the two peoples share joint political and economic institutions while maintaining a sense of semi-autonomy and cultural and religious distinctions is not so far-fetched. The one-state solution may be hard to imagine today, and admittedly the violence of the past few decades would make peace just as difficult to achieve in a single state as it would be through partition. Nor does the one-state solution solve such intractable issues as the status of Jerusalem or the right of return for Palestinian refugees. But unless 4 decades of the status quo suddenly transforms into 2 independent states in the very near future, a single binational state will be, for better or worse, unavoidable. Perhaps we should start planning for it now. And a quick word from one of our sponsors. It's one of the organizations helping solve the conflict besides the UN is the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Their goal is to create a performance-based roadmap to a permanent 2-state solution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict. To learn more about this organization, visit www.mfa.gov.il/MFA. And here today to give us her opinion on the 2-state solution is Filshe Ahmed, who is an activist in finding peace between Israel and Palestine. So, can you share with us what the current international stance on this 2-state solution is? The international consensus has finally come around regarding the 2-state solution. Unfortunately, it has come at a point when such a solution is no longer possible, and the impossibility is caused by Israel's substantial settlement of the West Bank. There are now approximately 500,000 settlers who live in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. Also, there are hundreds of settlement outposts and any settlements which are essentially like small cities, the West together with their supporting infrastructure of security zones, Jewish-only or Israeli-only roads, electrical grids, etc., take up about 40% of the West Bank. Well, it seems to me the Palestinians are being abused in this situation. Would you agree? Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't believe any of these people are going to be moved by the Israeli government anytime in the near future, and to boot the 2-state solution really does not offer a full restitution of the rights of the Palestinian people. There are approximately 1.4 million Palestinians who live as citizens of the state of Israel who do not enjoy equal rights in that state. These people would benefit in no way from the establishment of a 2-state solution. They would still continue to live as second-class citizens within Israel. Moreover, the Palestinian refugees who now live over the borders of the state would have no genuine way or vindication to return to their homeland. So what exactly is keeping them there? Well, the fact of the matter is Gaza, which, by the way, 80% of the Gaza Strip population is constituted by refugees from what is now southern Israel. They just simply cannot absorb any more people, and neither can the West Bank, really speaking, absorb millions of Palestinians from the outside. So the fact that a 2-state solution would really serve as an end to the right of the Palestinians to reserve is quite, it's not good. Well then, what do you believe is the answer? Well, I believe that the only fair solution for Palestinians and Israelis alike is to live in a state in which both people enjoy equal rights, in which both people political rights and access to resources. The fact of the matter is, since 1967, we have kind of a one-state solution. There's one functioning sovereignty that really determines the lives and the conditions of life for all of the people who live in former mandate Palestine, that is, the Israeli government. The present reality, however, is that the political rights are not equally distributed. Only Israelis, Jews enjoy full rights, and the rest suffer some form of lesser citizenship. So that is a condition in which I think has to change, and that is, I think, the only circumstance in which justice can be achieved for both people. Thank you for your time. So the conclusion to this program is that it is too late for a two-state solution because the demographics and time do not line up. The present one-state solution is the best idea so far, and the international community is not helping in a positive way. There is no way to know what the future holds on this issue, and we can only hope that soon Israelis and Palestinians will break through their troubles and learn to coexist cooperatively. Again, this is Felicity Short reporting for FSAAA, and thanks for listening.